the elimination of individual mail delivery in rural Canada. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, it is the Minister of Transportation's memo of December 13, 2006 that, in effect, instead of forcing Canada Post to hold the line in terms of individual mailboxes, it seems to have given the impetus to intimidate rural Canadians into giving up on their right of service, that right that they've had since horse and buggy days. This review by Canada Post, Mr. Speaker, is costing $600 million nationwide over 5 years. And what for, Mr. Speaker? To anger rural Canadians? I mean, $600 million over 5 years, Mr. Speaker, that is criminal. This issue could have been solved at the local level between the individual mailbox holder, the driver, and the postmaster. But we've got this national program that is angering and frustrating rural Canadians and intimidating them basically to move towards community mailboxes. So, Mr. Speaker, well, we'll hear, there's no question, we'll hear from either the Minister or the Parliamentary Secretary about the safety issue. And yes, we too are concerned about the safety of rural drivers. But I'll tell you this, Mr. Speaker, in Prince Edward Island, when I asked the question how many safety concerns that had by drivers, do you know how many there was? There was but one. But one. And you know, what would happen, Mr. Speaker, if we turned over the management of school buses? Or if garbage trucks that had to go down the highway to Canada Post? Would they be forced off the road too? You know, Mr. Speaker, there's other approaches than the approach that Canada Post is taking. So the point is, Mr. Speaker, there is other ways. What's wrong with the people over in the Minister's office? Can they not find a way to solve this problem that is sensible and maintains rural delivery? But I'll tell you what we do know, Mr. Speaker. The result of this review is leading to the elimination of individual delivery. We know that for sure. I can show you road after road where from 20 to 50% are not getting individual delivery. We know as well that more cars are forced onto the road with the greenhouse gas impact. We know that there will be litter by these community mailboxes. We know that there's greater risk to human safety by increasing the potential for accidents. Mr. Speaker, one box on the Milton Road, in Milton on the Rustico Road, there's now 31 people have to go to that community mailbox. So there's 31 cars on the road where there was previously one. And what do those individuals have to do? They have to turn around somewhere and go back, increasing the risk of accidents. You know, Mr. Speaker, and what about congestion at these boxes? People stop on both sides of the road. An accident waiting to happen. And what about human safety, Mr. Speaker? This isn't an urban Canada where there's a street light by the box. This is on a dark rural road where people have to sometimes get their mail after the dark. What about rural safety? It's time, Mr. Speaker, that the Minister and the government were concerned about rural Canada and looked after the interests of rural Canadians. You know, Mr. Speaker, and I want to make one other point, and that is on the intimidation. It shouldn't be allowed to happen. The Minister needs to act.
The Honourable the Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Transport, Infrastructure and Communities.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to have the opportunity today to comment on rural mail delivery, because this is the government, the Conservative government is